La voz de los latinos en América. Estamos transmitiendo desde hermosa 1470 AM, 96.9 FM y también en Facebook Live y en YouTube. Ojalá que nos pueda escuchar. Ay, perdón, something happened with my... Ok, vamos
You're
a...
back.
I'm sorry. We are going to start today, Tom. How are you?
Muy bien.
Now,
How are you, Lilia? You were not so well last week.
yeah, do you know? But I am feeling a lot better. It was like I was exhausted, I believe, something like very
Oh, yeah,
tired. But now I feel
I can see.
like a new person.
Good.
Oh.
Yeah, 2 good nights sleep will help you a great deal. Yeah. Anyway, so we need to talk today a little bit about the LA City Council, and we could talk a little bit about why these people are so reluctant to resign. You recall that we had 3 members of the city council, all Latinas and Latinos, and the head of the Los Angeles County Labor Federation, another Latino, uh, in a secret tape that was released that reveals them to be racist. They made negative comments about blacks, about Jews, about Armenians. You could almost name it. Anybody except themselves. All they wanted to do was assure power for themselves. And why are they so interested in staying in office in the LA City Council? Around the rest of the state, the highest outside of Los Angeles and San Francisco, the highest pay that a city council member gets anywhere in California is about $60,000 a year, which for most people is not much of an income. But in LA, a city councilman gets, would you believe, $207,000 a year. Now, if you look at people like Nuri Martinez and Kevin DeLeon and Gil Cedillo, where are they going to get that kind of money on any other job? Even when they were state legislators, a state senator makes $119,000. So it's about half. So these people are not just interested in power, they're also interested in keeping that big salary as long as they can.
Okay, let me translate, whatever you say. Bueno, nos está hablando de la situación que sucedió en el condado de Los Ángeles, en la ciudad de Los Ángeles, perdón, donde 3 de los city councils, que es Nuri Martínez, Cedillo y Kevin de León, fueron sorprendidos en una grabación hablando mal de todos los grupos étnicos menos de los hispanos. Y dice, y hay que considerar que aquí en la ciudad de Los Ángeles, los concejales tienen un salario y generalmente va de $60,000 el salario de los concejales, pero aquí ellos tienen un salario de $207,000. Dice, no solamente están interesados en conservar el poder que les da, pero también en el salario, dice, porque incluso los asambleístas tienen un salario de $119,000 y comparado con esto, pues es un gran dinero. Do you think, what I understood that mainly was Nuri Martinez who was speaking really bad, no? Or it was everybody?
It was everybody. In particular, it was De Leon talking about Armenians. It was Martinez talking about Jews and blacks. And it was Cedillo talking about all of them, but Cedillo said the least. And it's interesting that the first one to resign was the head of the Los Angeles County Labor Federation, who gets less money by far than these council people that his union members are largely responsible for keeping in power. But the Latinos do have something to gripe about, legitimately. But they need to set up fair districts in the city, even though they're underrepresented right now. There are about 4 million residents in the city of Los Angeles, and out of that, about half are Latinos. But there are 15 council people in Los Angeles, and only 4 of them, well under half, are Latino or Latina. And the current redistricting plan that was agreed to in 2021 is going to keep it that way, probably, the way the districts are drawn. And it gives more clout to blacks than what their numbers appear to justify. And so just because of the way the lines are drawn and who is in each district. And so the Latinos have legitimate gripes. The question here is how you gripe. Do you do it in a racist way that purports to make these other people inferior to you or somehow evil, or do you do it in a responsible way that talks about how you're underrepresented and you deserve a chance at winning the representation that your numbers seem to justify? You go ahead if you want.
Bueno, dice que le estaba yo preguntando si yo había escuchado que Nuri Martínez era la que había hecho comentarios más racistas. Dice, no, también Kevin de León los hizo hizo comentarios en contra de los armenios, y luego ese Cedillo es el que menos comentó, pero dice, y yo sé que la comunidad hispana tiene razón en alegar de que no tienen suficiente representación, porque hay aproximadamente 4 millones de residentes en la ciudad de Los Ángeles, de cuales la mitad son latinos y aproximadamente 15 concejales y solamente 4 latinos. Entonces, esto se debe a los planes los mapas de redistritación que se hicieron, que no han sido iguales, que le dan más oportunidad a la comunidad negra, a pesar de que tienen más representación, a pesar de que tienen menos habitantes. Yo creo que tienen un derecho legítimo, pero no de expresarse de esa manera en forma racial en contra de todos los demás grupos. Do you know that was so sad? And you can continue now if you want.
It is very sad, and here's what else is sad. Anybody who has known these people a little bit should not be surprised at how they were talking. First of all, politicians talk rough when they're in private, much different than when they're in public. But, for instance, Kevin De Leon, who formerly was the president of the state Senate and ran for the United States Senate against Dianne Feinstein in 2018. When he ran against Feinstein, and because of the top 2 system, even though he's a Democrat, he wound up as Feinstein's opponent in the fall. And in his race, he insulted Feinstein repeatedly because she was in her 80s, and she probably won't run again in 2024 because she'll be 90, and she's showing some signs of her age at this point, but she wasn't at the time that DeLeon was talking about her. He was insulting her gratuitously, and in the process, he was insulting every other person who gets to be in their 80s. Well, it's our goal to stay alive. So if we stay alive longer than the average, should we be punished for it? That's what Kevin DeLeon was saying about Feinstein. And then, if you've ever heard Nuri Martinez talk, she's as foul-mouthed as they come, and always was. And now she's resigned, largely because of her foul mouth. So these people were not doing anything that was out of character in this conversation. And yet, even though a lot of people knew how they talked and what their attitudes were, they kept getting reelected all the time, easily.
Bueno, dice que el primero en renunciar fue el representante sindical. Dice, y no es ninguna sorpresa que los políticos hablen así. Dice, ellos hablan así en privado, no en público. Dice, pero por ejemplo, el que era senador estatal, el jefe del Senado estatal, Kevin de León, cuando corrió para senador de los Estados Unidos, dice, corrió en contra de la senadora Feinstein. Y fueron los 2 últimos que fueron a la elección, y dice, y él continuamente insultó a la senadora Feinstein por su edad, porque ya tenía 80, dice, y en ese tiempo ella estaba bien de sus facultades mentales. Es posible que ya no corra en el 24 porque ya va a tener 90 años, pero ella siempre se ha desarrollado muy bien y él continuamente la insultó por la edad y eso no se debe porque ahora la gente está viviendo más y se desempeña más. Y Nuri Martínez siempre ha sido lo mismo con ella, siempre hablando de más de lo que no debe. So what is going to happen? They quit. Nuri quit for the presidency, but she didn't quit for her position. Eh? Nobody quit for.
No. She has now quit her position entirely. She's now resigned from the city council, and so there will have to be a special election to replace her, and that would also happen with DeLeon and Cedillo. They're going to have to resign. There's an immense amount of pressure on them, starting with the President of the United States. Biden has told them that they need to resign. And, it's not a dictatorship in this country. You can't force them to resign. But that's a lot of pressure. And they know that if they run for re-election again, they'll lose, and they'll lose very, very badly. And so you can look for them to resign in the next few days as well, DeLeon and Cedillo. And then, who knows where they're going to make a salary like they do now, $200,000 plus. Maybe if they'd stayed and they'd behaved themselves, they could have gotten a job as a political consultant where they might have made that kind of money. But now, nobody will want to ever be associated with them for a long time.
And too bad for Cedillo because he did a really good job with the driver license for the undocumented, no? He tried and tried.
That's right. But he had a lot of help from Jerry Brown in that too.
Yeah, absolutely. Bueno, estamos hablando de cómo le digo que qué va a pasar con ellos. Seguramente van a renunciar en breve porque el concejal de León y Cedillo, Nuri ya renunció de su posición y si no van a encontrar otro trabajo con ese salario y van a tener que renunciar y ni siquiera van a ser contratados como asesores de políticos porque con este quemón que se dieron pues ya no van a salir adelante. Thank you very much, Tom. It was so interesting as always, and I will talk to you next week. Hasta la vista.